Trucks. It's
Trucks.
really dark. I can't see.
Turn on your headlights. There we
Yeah,
go.
there we go.
Hello, everybody. This is another Trucks where we've crammed a whole bunch of people into the truck hole or cockpit,
The
depending
truck
on your
hole?
preferences. And the subject of today's discussion is the making of music. Every person in here
Is a
makes
music maker.
or has made
The
music.
dreamers of dreams.
And in the usual Group Trucks fashion, we're going to go around and get people's thoughts on music making as a thing that a human being does. But first, we should introduce everybody. Hi, my name is Isaac.
Hi, I'm Josh.
How about you, Fabian? Who are you?
I'm Fabian. It's me.
Fabian creates Fabian creates the most polished music of anybody in here, I would say.
Oh, thank you.
All by himself, which is very impressive. I would describe your standard style as a sort of in the emo metal department, or
Yeah, that
okay.
sounds about right, yeah.
Cool. Next we have Stefan Ghost Dunk, probably the person here who's been paid the most to play music.
Just very
Which is
little.
A low bar.
Stefan has talked with us about music on Trucks in the deep history long ago.
Indeed. Most notable probably for your Pillows cover band that used to be a fixture on the Midwest anime convention circuit. The Pillowcases,
Indeed.
if I'm not mistaken. Next we have Olive.
I'm Olive.
Olive is
Yo.
like a Bandcamp dude.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Shit, sorry.
That was my no.
Yeah.
God, you describe me.
You're a drummer by training, but you make sort of beats a lot these days. You seem to be very
I do a lot
beat
of
focused.
beats.
Rats
Yeah.
keeps saying that you make video game music, which isn't,
I take exception to that.
which you take exception to, yes. But you seem to be mostly focused on production and beat making these days.
I do little beats. I do a little bedroom pop. I do a little
Yeah.
Whoa.
And then we have Rats, who is famous for his normal guitar music.
Yeah. I am the sole member of the band mother-panic.bandcamp.com.
Yeah. All of his Sun Caverns on Bandcamp, incidentally.
no, you don't go there. I'm Sun Caverns on Twitter. I'm not Sun Caverns on anything.
Okay, I'll bleep that out.
Everyone
By
should go
me,
to
I
my
mean Josh will bleep
Bandcamp
that
and
out. Do you want to
send me
plug any of your own
$50.
stuff, Olive, since Rats did?
Nah.
Olive wishes
Give
to
me
remain
money.
anonymous.
There's nothing worthwhile out there as it stands.
There's a lot
Hopefully that'll
worthwhile on
change.
my Bandcamp,
Asshole.
and I should receive the worth for it.
Fuck you.
Yes, Rats is trying to make money from music, which is something that none of us are currently trying to do. And finally, Josh, who is a maker of Aphex Twin / EDM inspired ambient soundscapes. Actually, Aphex Twin isn't right.
No.
Name a few of your influences, Josh.
Oh, I don't know.
That
I
lady
guess-
who does the organ chords.
Yeah, definitely.
Helen
Autechre, I'm into stuff which is
Hell
maybe a little
yeah.
bit less song and more
Noises?
sonic sculpture sort of space stuff.
Yes.
Isaac
Josh has
makes music too.
transcended the human need for melody and rhythm
Oh yeah.
in his creations. And I have been in a bunch of bands and also make music by myself when I am feeling the need to. But mostly these days I make little improvised acoustic guitar jingles for my science fiction podcast. That's the majority of my musical output.
So with this great assembly of minds, what the heck should we talk about?
Why don't you kick us off, Olive, since you mentioned
Yo.
that you had some philosophical
Yeah.
topics of
I
importance.
have a pretty good starter if you don't got one, Olive.
Never mind.
I got thoughts. No, it's cool.
Okay.
I can. I think Rats is keen to start. So
I think Rats wants to start us off. Rats.
Yo,
Yeah,
we're all
go on,
people who work and then also maybe make music.
Mm-hmm.
And the
That's true.
work and the music, you know? And work has
on.
really been sapping my energy to make music.
Yeah, same.
I'm not sure how to navigate this.
Well,
Has anyone figured it out or got any
No.
any thoughts on the matter?
I have a friend who figured it out, but I can't really
Oh, God.
enter his brain space and tell you exactly what's going on in there. But he makes music like every day, but he's still working a job and raising a family. Like he just
Jesus.
makes time for it.
I think
Yeah.
that's the key. Like I have made albums while employed, although it is much easier to make albums while unemployed since I've done
Yeah.
both.
Definitely.
I've made like several albums while working like 60-hour work weeks. I don't know how I did that.
I think that it's basically, I mean, partially it's because you're young and still have a
Hell
little
yeah.
bit of energy in you that hasn't been sort of sapped away and blown into the atmosphere by the process of aging and the encroachment of...
If by have you mean had, maybe.
Yes,
It's,
exactly.
it's always just going to be a matter of time management. Like, I could have simply not played Elden Ring, but
Could you?
I don't know if you'd still be Josh if you had simply not played Elden Ring.
I know, right? Like, it seemed necessary, but certainly
like-
I was aware the entire time that it was the choice I was making. You know.
Just like anything else, like it's a matter of external structure, you know. Like, if for example you have said that you're going to make music for a communal project, which we've all done for the Trucks projects, and you have somebody yelling at you all the time to do it, i.e. me, that helps when you have like.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
But when it's sometimes
Mostly
sometimes it
not.
doesn't. Dunk. But when we have it really is just a matter of like deciding this is going to be my first priority besides like feeding myself after work. I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
But you have to have a really compelling reason to do that, and sort of that opens up the question of why we do this in the first place. Can I get actually, just out of curiosity, can I get a little short round robin for everybody? Why do you make music? Starting with Fabian.
Because it makes me happy. Even though most of the stuff I've been making has been very aggressive and or sad, it's just
yeah.
fun to project that emotion onto a piece of art.
Yeah. How about you, Dunk? Why do you make music?
I have 3 reasons. One is attention.
Yes.
I want everyone to know how
Us too,
awesome
yeah.
I am.
That's a big one.
And second is I like making people feel things. So I like making music. And then third is it genuinely does make me happy. Like I've noticed when I was really depressed or sad, like playing in the band, like I felt great for that time I was playing music, and that's something I really noticed. And I'll make something, even the dumbest like 15-second loop, and I will listen to it all day, and that
Hell
brings me
yeah.
pleasure.
Yeah, we should actually circle back after this and say who among us likes to listen to their own stuff.
Among us.
Olive, thanks, Rats.
Yeah.
Olive, why do you make music?
Similar to Dunk, partly I like showing off. I like showing it to people and being like, oh, look at how good the thing I made, and then I hate it a month later. And also, yeah, just the getting to listen to it and be like, I made that, which I feel like can go either way, but in usually on the day like feels great, and then a week later it feels like the worst piece of shit ever, and then like a year later it sounds great again, and then
Exactly the same thing for me. Like down to
Ain't
the
that how it
times.
is?
Yeah. Rats, why do you make music?
So that I don't kill myself.
Yeah.
cool.
So we've pretty much discovered there that, and for me, it's like, yeah, it's both showing off, it's self-care, and it's because I like to listen to the stuff that I've made.
Yeah.
And also because I like showing off and I like
It's the
hurting
only-
people.
Yes, there is that. I also like making music that's weird and aggressive.
It's the only way to hear music where the musician makes all the choices that you would make and not the choices that somebody else would make.
That's true.
And for the record, I like all my music.
I
in
wish that I was
perpetuity.
better at
I've-
making music so that I could make some more interesting choices, but that's another...
I've never gotten tired of my own stuff, for whatever that's worth. Does that make me a psychopath?
No, you just haven't made a whole lot of stuff.
I have made quite a lot of stuff.
Get his ass.
I've made some stuff. I've been making stuff, and it's still up from when I was like 14. So some of that stuff I am not. It's not.
Yeah, but
good.
you're like 15, so.
That's true.
But yeah, to circle back around to the sort of the original question, like how do you, if making music for us and for I suspect a lot of people is a form of self-care, and so making music while you work is like making time to eat, making time to bathe, making time to make sure
it's
that
like
you're
shitting.
not dying. And like for me, it doesn't have to be music, it can be other kinds of creative output, but something has to be going on or else I start feeling like my life doesn't make any sense, which is good because even though I'm like almost 40 and I've learned that lesson a billion times, I keep forgetting it every time I'm sad and I'm not making something, like every time.
Yeah, it's a really good way to organize your thoughts so that way they aren't beating you in your head,
Oh yeah, and like as Mongler said, sometimes making sad or cathartic music. Like, should I have put the 9-minute cello solo that I did when I was feeling upset on my last album? Probably not. That probably should have just been for me.
Should've.
But it was certainly helpful to do it. And,
Yeah. We need
I'm
more
currently
9-minute
in the-
cello solos.
I'm currently in the I've forgotten that music makes me happy phase at the moment.
Damn.
Oh man.
Would you like a reminder?
I mean, this is good for it actually. So that's why I
Okay.
brought it up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like it just it is like it feels good. That's
even-
why I do it, because it feels nice. It makes me feel better.
Like even if I'm not writing music, like just trying to make creative decisions really helps. When we did the Trucks Airplane Over the Sea project, that was awesome. I felt really good about making those decisions.
Yeah, it turned out really well. I think that your contribution was one of the highlights of that album.
Oh, thank you. But like it was helpful for me because it did help me work through like a lot of thoughts. Like that album necessarily, has a lot of heavy stuff around it, and like I was able to take that song and sort of incorporate a lot of ideas that had been sitting in my brain and like put them on a piece of audio, and that helped.
Mm. So it's like an enema, basically.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you take some stuff that's in your head and then you put it in like a digital audio workstation, and then people give you money for it sometimes.
Yeah, no, that last part I'm still really never gotten the hang of, but
I would like to circle back around and ask what Olive's philosophical whatever was gonna be.
I was like brainstorming, I guess, stuff to say leading up to this Trucks, and I was thinking about what would be kind of like a coherent philosophy of songwriting that I could sort of put forward. And I think something that I kind of realized about, to the extent that I do write songs, which is a tenuous way of putting it, because I'm very much someone who like makes a sketch and then abandons it and then starts another, etc. But I think particularly recently, what I think helped me like make a lot of progress is realizing that songwriting is more about unlearning ideas that you have about how to write songs than learning things. In that,
Is it?
well,
I
think that me and Rats maybe have come at it from a different angle, where just speaking for myself, like I never knew anything about songwriting and had no ideas about it.
I mean, it's less like the idea of like unlearning like theory, because I learned like the bare minimum theory when I was younger.
Quick question. When you say songwriting, do you mean like lyrics?
I mean like writing songs. No, I mean I don't mean lyrics. I still don't know how to write lyrics. I hate it.
Okay.
I just mean I think you.
When I hear song, I basically think like it's got a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah, when I hear songwriting, I think of like a 2-minute pop song.
I guess
When I hear
music
songwriting, I
making
think
in
of
any
Right.
in any
So you have
capacity,
preconceived notions about what music making should be.
I think everyone does. Like, even no matter what angle you're coming at it from, even if you have no training, like that just gives you like a different set of preconceptions. And I think the most helpful thing you can do if you're trying to like learn how or trying to like develop is to like. I feel like I'm not explaining it well, but
I agree with Olive actually. Like, my brain feels absolutely poisoned by pop music. So when I sit down to write a song, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm just using all of these cliches and melodies and like little hooks and stuff that I've heard over the radio over the years. And it feels like songwriting, like Olive said, is trying to unlearn all that so you can get away with that and just make something that you like.
yeah, it's not even just like stuff you might have heard, like literal, like, oh, this is a melody I heard, I need to like scrub it from my brain and write something like. I actually think like lifting stuff is often like one of the best ways you can like actually like sort of get the gears turning. But
Hell yeah, steal shit.
hell yeah, steal. But
Shout
I
out
don't
to the
know.
track that I did, which is just half a Vampire Weekend song that I didn't even remember that I was ripping off while it was happening.
that is so rude.
I think that's the best way to make a song. Just like half remember a song, recreate it, and just make it your own. That's
Yeah,
fun.
half
I mean,
my
that
lyrics
is-
are mishearing like another person's lyrics and making them better in my head than they actually are.
Yeah, that's good. That's a
Which
Yeah,
is a
I
good
think-
way of doing it.
I don't know. I think the more you can do to sort of demystify the process for yourself is good. I don't know. I'm not making a lot of sense, but I think
No.
Yeah,
I'm definitely following you.
basically the more you assume
just,
there's rules, the more you put limits on yourself.
everybody
It's
should
true.
be making like sketchy drone pieces that just
Yeah.
sort of
I think
randomly-
just a lot of people assume they can't, and so they don't, and that's no way
Yeah,
to be.
and I think that I personally think that people who make, I think the most interesting music to me tends to be people who don't know the rules yet, or are struggling against their lack of ability or lack of resources, because it means that you can't sound like anything else. And one of the more disappointing things is following an artist that you like and discovering that once they get the experience and resources under them, what they actually wanted to do is to make normal music.
yeah.
And which is why
I've tried to make normal music.
yeah, and you make normal guitar music. We have
Yeah.
I
established
make
that.
normal guitar music, which is it different? No, I
For
make
normal music, definitely.
You're right.
Yes.
Oh, I make normal guitar music, but yeah, Yukio, it was supposed to be like a pop album.
Yeah, that wasn't gonna happen.
I would also say I don't really relate at all to the idea of wanting to convey emotion through music, which I don't know. Whenever I see like a YouTube comment being like, "Oh, so and so is conveying so much emotion through your performance," I'm like, "Okay, so what?"
Oh, that's
Like, a low
fascinating.
bar.
I wonder.
That's-
Josh. I wonder what do you convey music? Do you convey music through your emotions? Do you convey emotion through your music, Josh, or not?
Sometimes. I mean,
Sometimes.
I certainly encounter emotions as the music unfolds itself before me. Whether or not those are the same emotions that are conveyed by the music to the listener, I couldn't really tell you.
Yeah, I exclusively make music that I like post to convey emotions.
That's very interesting, because like I wonder if this is because for me, music, and possibly for Rats as well, music starts on a super physical level. Like my songwriting process always starts with like holding a thing and whacking it essentially
Oh yeah.
in various ways until I like what sound they're making. And there's something like that it's sort of, because it starts on this I'm not thinking about what I'm it's like the reason that I didn't connect to what Olive was saying about songwriting is that I don't think about songwriting. I just let my hands think about whatever the shit is going on, and then try to make sense of it later. And so that I think that always comes from a certain kind of emotionality.
I think maybe I just don't have enough trauma.
Yeah. No, you got enough.
Everybody's got some.
I've got some, but relative.
It's enough.
Don't have trauma envy.
My My songwriting method is strange in that I will just be standing around at work and then a lyric will like punch me in the face and I just write it down. And then this happens a handful of times over the course of a week, and then I've got all these scraps and then I just kind of spend a good 30 minutes arranging it, and then that's the song, and then
My
I like
starting
figure out a
points are
chord
often,
progression,
like-
and then they bounce around ideas in my head.
Yeah.
And then I almost always have the song in my head before I even record it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that is
I-
not anywhere near what I do. But what were you saying, Josh?
My starting points are often like, ooh, what if I applied an LFO to that at the same time
Hell
as
yeah.
to that? You know,
Fucking
just,
love
like-
those wiggly waves.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all this has in common is that, like, you know, you're just looking for a thing to happen, and you just have different ways of going about it. Like, oh, let's change the LFO, or let me whack this stick. And you know, like we're
Caveman versus spaceman approaches to the same problem.
Yeah, it's just sort of like randomly, like just trying to put your body and mind through some process, and all of a sudden something comes out that is a little nugget of a thing. I remember
that nugget
Something
often.
comes
Do you
out
guys
as a
find that
little
when
nugget,
you discover
alright.
when you discover the initial nugget that it tends to sort of just compel you until it's like something that's like a more refined or more complete version of itself, and it's almost like, well, now that the nugget is here, like there's no way to stop this from happening.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a nugget vehicle.
Yeah, it does
Like,
feel
if I finish
involuntary a
something.
lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you saw that in. I hate to bring up mainstream music, but the Get Back documentary with the Beatles. You saw people like.
You
lost
say
their
you saw
minds.
that like any of us watched it.
Okay,
I watched
right.
it.
Well,
I
okay,
watched
well,
it.
sorry, there's a scene. There's a scene in it, and people were going ape over this. Like, Paul McCartney is sitting there playing his guitar, and all of a sudden, "Get Back" falls out while he's just humming
Right.
along with his guitar. And like everyone's like, I can't believe this, and anyone who writes songs sees that and goes, oh, I love that moment when that happens.
Yeah.
That's
and
just
you,
how it
you see the
works.
other Beatles just sitting there like, oh yeah, cool. Paul came up with a song again. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty normal.
Yep.
I haven't even heard the song Get Back.
It's
It
fine.
goes. It's about California grass.
I thought it was
Careful,
about
we'll
the.
we'll get DCMA.
I thought it was about the anime JoJo.
California ass.
It's about the
More
webcomic
like-
back.
Okay.
He's wondering if you get it or not.
Oh, podcasting.
But yeah, it is. It tends to be. You know, it's not like. Mostly, it's not an idea that I have somewhere else. Usually, if I have an idea and want to try to make it into music afterwards, that doesn't work. But the idea that won't leave you alone thing is more of a like a storytelling, like a fiction writing thing in my process, because it takes an idea that won't leave me alone to actually do it. But yeah, no. Once you get something going, I actually wanted to ask, like, when you're starting this process, do you? I tend to use loopers, or the looper that I have to write music, to write parts. Do you record yourself and then listen to your stuff and then write stuff over it? This is for people who like work with instruments, or do you sort of think of it as a whole all at once?
Some people will make instrumentals and then they feel like they're obligated to make lyrics. I'm the other way around. And I use a looper to practice, but when it comes to songwriting, I will, or like making music, I'll just record a loop of a guitar and then like structure that and then record a take and then do vocals and then do everything else after that.
Sure. Vocals are always the very last thing that I do,
Yep.
because they feel like the least important or interesting part of the process to me.
I will say that
Bjork
even though I
records
mostly-
vocals before anything else and then organizes everything around that, and I
I mean,
don't
that
know
makes perfect
how.
sense, and which is why I find a lot of her songwriting really slack and flappy.
Wait, who is this?
George.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it is.
Unbelievable
But
Black
things
and
to say.
flappy.
I mean, it's just so like, you know, oh, I sang something and then, you know, and then I
Yeah.
orchestrated it.
Yeah, owns.
Well, we all have our tastes.
Yeah. Anyway,
And Isaac's is bad.
I'm Bjork. Yeah. Yeah.
I get, despite the fact that I sort of mainly like make without instruments these days and kind of not having one in my current situation, I do still like. It usually does start with like a voice note that I make to myself because like something comes into my head at some stage, and sometimes
You
they're
beatbox into your
unusable.
phone?
I don't beatbox into my phone. No,
Are you sure?
I hum little melodies, but sometimes I wake up and I realise they're unusable because I woke up at like 6 a.m. and was convinced I had something brilliant, and then I listened to it later and I'm literally going,
We've all been there.
Someone
That's
sample that
good.
and prove Olive wrong.
don't.
There's a lot of crosstalk. Do we want to give him like 5 seconds? Okay, go.
So anyway, no, that was the end of the thought.
So anyway, what?
What's the next thought?
No.
We need a new thought, guys.
Oh,
Lay it on
okay.
me.
I'm going to ask those people who can relate to this tweet that I'm going to put in the group chat. What this?
Oh.
What the
Wait,
fuck
I
was
can't
that?
see the group chat.
Sorry,
I'm
it was my
driving
brother.
the truck.
So in this
so-
tweet, a cartoon cat is working at a DAW, and it is how it feels to chew 10 sound Goodizers.
Sound Goodizer is such a fucking plug-in.
Yeah. How do you what? I think this is possibly for Josh. Like,
Yeah.
how does it feel getting that one tone out of all of the gazillion possible tones for a thing to be toned?
Like when I locate the perfect texture.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, I feel like timbre and texture is like the
Yeah, that's my
the
thing.
most significant thing for you. So
Are we talking about 10-cent sound Goodizers, or are we talking about good sounds?
I mean,
Yeah,
it depends on your, you know, how you
Sometimes
feel.
the sound Goodizer is involved, and sometimes it isn't. How does it feel? I mean, you know, it feels good.
All right. Good.
I mean, it would ask a stupid question.
Sometimes
me-
I'll plug in my guitar and flip on my amp and twiddle with some knobs, and then I'll like not even listening to it before I record, and then I'll record and all, then I'll be like, hell yeah, that sounds so fucking good. Hell yeah, let's fucking go.
With my music in particular, it's like, okay, I found a good sound. Now I need to find ways to like make this sound move, and that isn't necessarily to do with melody. With me, it's more like I want to like find a few
LFOs.
parameters. Like, I just
Hell
want to
yeah.
find a few things that I can use to kind of explore the ways that sound can transform into other sounds. You know.
Nice.
For me, this is usually a before picture. Like this is while I'm doing it, and then like the after picture is me listening to it on like other speakers, and just it sounds awful. Like the EQ is all off. It's too tinny. It doesn't sound good, etc.
Oh my god! Like this is my particular pain, is that, you know, I'm fucking around with my pedals and my guitar, and in the room I've created a sound that is just undeniably kick-ass, and then I put
Hell
a
yeah.
microphone up to my amp, and the sound in my that comes out of the recorded quality sounds like I'm, you know, I have a distortion pedal in the other room, you know. It's incredibly frustrating because I don't know how to make that good sound good forever.
Yeah,
It was just a good
here's my
sound in the room.
strategy.
So this
I
is
don't
why it's
think
good
you
to work on
can,
computers,
so I
because-
give up, and then I'll just take an all right sound. And then
I mean,
it'll sound
that's obviously
probably
what I
better.
do also.
Hell yeah.
But the pursuit of that sound that actually sounded good, and then you have to come up with something
okay.
that approximates.
Here's a good saying. Sometimes it matters more that you're doing something at all than how you're doing it. Like, you can fuck around with the knobs on the distortion pedal, but for like song making, it just kind of matters that there's distortion on it.
This is true.
in the
Actually,
long
Or like if you're, that's a good one. You should write that down.
Okay. Thank you, Rats.
Okay, Ryan, Eno.
This is the good thing about working on computers, is that once you discover a good sound, it's just, that's it. Like, the sound
Hell
that you
yeah,
hear is
brother.
the sound that you have.
Hell yeah.
Fabian, since you haven't been talking much, your production is usually very impressive and full.
How do you do that?
How you do that? Help
Um,
us out.
Firstly, many years of just literally not knowing what I'm doing and just
But I've done that
Fine.
Hell
already.
yeah.
and then just like pirating a lot of mastering plugins. That also helps a
Oh,
lot.
the mastering plugins.
That
Sound
helps a lot.
Goodizers. We were
Yeah,
talking.
the sound Goodizers, yeah.
The fucking mastering.
Put 10
plugins.
sound good out
But
ass.
one thing I've seen that I've been doing recently, actually, from within the past 2 years or so, is just studying a lot of music through my preferred method of hearing, which is through headphones and how it sounds. Just pretty much figuring out how my speakers sound, and then trying to make my own music sound like the music that I listen to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good method.
And then
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't, because while I'm saying that, I still don't know what I'm doing.
You
And-
could.
I think
Here's
as
where you say
Rats-
that you went to audio engineering school and just say that, and then everybody believes
I
you.
wish
and then
I
we all
could.
think you're cool.
I wish I did, but I did not.
This is
Do
like
you
an
not-
age-old thing. Every time you look up like a mixing or a mastering tutorial on YouTube, the guy always starts off by saying like, "So, I don't understand mixing, and nobody understands mixing." But here we go.
It also helps to know that even though there are set rules, it doesn't matter, especially in like a
Yeah.
bedroom sense. I guess is the best way to describe it in my sense. It's just whatever. If it sounds good, it sounds good.
Do you?
Damn, y'all are watching tutorials.
Am I mistaken, or do you run sound at a venue for?
No, I just
Yeah.
I just do like the menial labor at a venue. I just help out
Yeah.
sometimes, and I also
You move shit,
watch
you
the
pick shit
door
up
and
and put it
stuff.
down.
I don't do the
step one.
sound there.
Gotcha.
He's
That
the
is the
bodyguard.
Step one. First you're bouncing, and then you're bopping. That's how that goes.
Yeah.
But I
Then
think I
you're
talked.
bouncing
Then you're
project
making the
files
crowd
to
bounce.
wave.
Ooh.
Fabian, I'm curious, how
Uh,
did you get started in like producing music and stuff?
Boredom in high school.
Hell yeah.
I downloaded an app on my phone called Caustic, which is what I also produced my first album on entirely. And it just started from synthesis, and then I bought my first guitar, and then now I'm in not acoustic because it's still all run through my computer, but yeah, just mainly boredom.
But you moved from all digital to using instruments.
Yeah.
Cool. That is very cool.
How did you guys start?
I got a funny one.
Go for it.
So I started making lo-fi hip-hop beats when I was in like middle school.
Whoa.
That's so.
And then shut up. And then at some point I was in a fashion server, and then like some guy said, "You look high as shit in like a fit picture." He was like, "Yeah, I was on heroin and that. Here's this car seat headdress song." And then I heard it and I was like, "Yeah, I bet I could do that."
Wow.
I feel like this can all be blamed on Kurt Cobain somehow.
Coincidentally,
I'm
it was
gonna
the
be
exact same
honest.
thing
I'm
happened to
watching
me.
the stream. The driving is freaking me the fuck out. I've seen people.
Yeah,
this,
people are
you know,
ruthless.
it's the truck.
These computers are not driving like people.
Josh is checking his mirrors. I'm impressed.
He took
So-
a turn.
I just got a notification for the tweet you posted. I love Discord.
I got started in a very on-brand way. I was playing with software called Goldwave. I had a lot of fun, like
Yes.
applying ring modulators and bit crushers
Oh,
to
shut up.
just various bits and pieces that I liked listening to and fucking them deeply up. And
Fucking
Yeah.
them deeply.
I started with WarioWare DIY for the Nintendo DS, baby.
Oh yes.
And then moved to Famatracker for a few years and made Bad Chiptune.
Also
And
good.
then used fucking Audacity for like 5 years. I'm never getting back. And
One of
wondered,
Trick's
why am I
point
not
never-
finishing anything? It's almost like this is bad software to make music.
One of Trick's point never got his
Just
start
like-
making everything inside of Goldwave, so there's no wrong way.
And I
Except that.
I recorded like 2.5 albums worth of material just using Audacity.
Yeah, but
It
you
took
play
me-
guitar.
Yes, that is true.
You guys
I
are
can't
insane.
imagine trying to make this.
Oh my God.
with that.
Dude,
Yeah,
my shit looked
everyone
like
here uses
barcodes.
Camel Crusher,
It was
right?
Bad. I don't know what that is.
I don't know
Camel
why.
Crusher,
Oh.
it's like a
Goldwave is like a more stable Audacity from the 90s.
yeah.
So,
Better
Yeah,
interface, too,
I
in
remember
my
sitting
opinion.
with Josh while he was just like, just crungling music for his own joy.
Yeah.
I've done plenty of that.
Yeah.
One thing about Audacity is the distortion. That's not quite the same anywhere else. There is that Audacity distortion. Real
Yeah.
nice.
Gold,
I like
Goldwave
the
has
built-in
an incredible
Audacity
bit
effects
crusher.
are not to be sneezed at.
So I am 40, and I started on this device. It's called a 4-track. And
Hell yeah.
you take
Now, if you
take a
kids don't know what that
cassette
is,
Back in my day.
Yeah, so I before I ever did recordings on computers, I got this 4-track and I recorded a whole album off it.
Oh damn! Does that exist anywhere?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't find it right now, but I'll find it eventually and you get it. But yeah, it's half covers and then half bad songs that I wrote when I was
Oh,
in high
man.
school.
I wanna hear
and
this.
That's
oh
awesome.
yeah, it's terrible. You guys, you other guys were already making way better music than I was as a senior in high school, but
I've made
yeah.
yeah. Oh, and speaking of making music recently, I've only ever made music during COVID.
Oh,
Really?
Huh.
Cool.
yeah.
That's,
Weird.
Which is, yeah, it is, because I've heard people say that COVID just made it harder to make music.
I
Depends
mean,
what kind
it
of
made
music.
it harder to have a band, but
Do-
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're all bedroom people here for the most part. So,
Yeah.
um,
I don't know, it's just interesting, because, like, yeah, I don't know, you know?
just interesting how talented I am.
It's
in
just
such a
interesting
short
'cause I don't
time.
know.
it's just interesting how far I've come in such a short period of time. I'm kind of-
I'm so good.
It's crazy. It's
Everyone
so
should
weird.
give me money at mother-panic. That's PANIC.
with a K on
There's a
the
K
end.
in there. There's a K in there because copyright reasons.
Now, Olive has made a full album.
I
know this. It's,
I've
it's actually
made-
pretty good.
Wait, which one are you referring to?
The first
The
one.
jazz one?
Yeah.
Your
Okay,
early
yeah.
stuff.
My
Yeah.
early one that I made. God, it
Your
was
early stuff.
2016. Oh, yeah, no.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah, okay.
the period
All right.
between my first two albums and my third album, I think it was 10 years between my second album and my third album. Like, just some life happens to you, and your attention goes other places, and then eventually I drifted back to making music by myself.
I made an
Uh.
album a month for a bit, but that's because they're not very good.
Mm.
I might run out of gas.
Holy shit,
Oh,
that's not good.
Fill her
It
up.
circles back to what we were talking about earlier with running out of gas. Creative.
yeah.
Oh, boy.
I've been I've been getting cast recently. Yeah, I've like started working on like a song after like a good couple. How long has it been actually?
Since
I was gonna say been a good while. No, it's been 3 months.
yeah.
Anyway,
The last piece of music that I worked on, seriously, was probably for one of the projects here.
I'd say the same for me. I think that was the last full song that I worked on here. Everything else between then has just been like half ideas, loops, or like, okay, I'm gonna put down this bones of a track and then come back to it, and then it's like 2 years later.
Clearly,
I
we
was-
just need to do another Trucks project just so that
I
people
have
finish.
I can't
Yeah.
relate. I finished a song today that I started yesterday.
Ooh,
Congratulations,
nice.
Olive.
Awesome.
Thanks.
I have a suggestion.
yeah, I've been
for those
telling
who are
people to
black.
make art recently, and it's been working for them.
Yes.
My suggestion for those who are blacked is to do a cover. I have an
Yeah.
idea for a cover. I want to recreate one of Laurie Spiegel's generative things, and it would be an interesting project to kind of figure out how to get Ableton to run more or less the same algorithm that her old, switchboardy synthesizer was doing. And then
Oh, yeah,
outside
no, Britney
it's like
Spears is fine too.
it's helpful when you don't have to have any particular ideas. Just
Hell yeah.
do your own take on something. It's it gets you back into the workflow, which I think is the most important thing for making your own
Yeah,
things happen.
I was working when I was working on this when I was working on this song Singular that I'm working on. I was like, hell yeah, yeah, this is great.
That's a feeling we can all relate to.
Josh,
Oh,
Josh,
quick couple of
yes,
productions.
yes,
Josh,
yes,
Josh,
yes,
Josh,
yes,
Josh.
yes, yes.
When's the album coming?
I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Maybe soon.
When's
So
the
maybe.
Momus album coming out, Josh?
I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Speaking
soon.
of covers,
Maybe soon.
The Momus cover album is like 90% done, and it's so
The
good.
Amogus?
shush.
I'll bleep
Sus?
that out myself. I'm sorry. I'll do the legwork on that one.
No, don't. You're not allowed to believe that, or else it would make all of this reacting seem so out of context.
Oh,
Man,
I won't bleep it.
I was
I'll
worried that
heavily
was gonna
distort
happen
it in
this-
Audacity.
And sure enough, yeah, no, I haven't been feeling the itch lately, honestly. Partially just because I guess I think of like creative work as something that is almost a biological process, as I've said before. It builds up and has to be purged. And
Yeah.
my little jingles are just enough of that, and they keep me in physical shape with the guitar that like I haven't felt the need to do anything more interesting.
oh yeah,
as of
a lot
late.
of us play guitar here.
That's
What's
true.
that like?
Half. How'd the guitar people get started playing guitar?
I played cello, and then my brother, because he played guitar, gave me a bass, so he'd have somebody to play bass with.
Oh yeah.
He gave me a very shitty bass, which is a great way to start
Hell
learning
yeah.
how to play any instrument, is to get a really
An
shitty one,
instrument.
because if you can figure out how to make that sound good, then you're set for life. Josh, you just fucking went for it there.
I misinterpreted the lights. It's been too long
It's
since
driving
I've
is
driven a
fucking
car.
me up.
I thought I had a green light, but actually I was looking for the one on the left there, wasn't I?
Wow.
I
There's the
drive in
gas
Chicago,
station.
and this seems normal.
But yeah, so I moved on from there to fucking around with the guitar, and if I had actually gone and tried to learn guitar in a like a sensible way, or looked at tutorials or anything like that, I would probably have gotten good a lot quicker. But I've physically fucked around with it until I've gotten like good at it, and that's pretty much and that took like 10-15 years.
Yeah.
How about you, Don?
So I always wanted to be a rock star when I was growing up. So
Hell yeah.
at some point I realized I was not good at the drums, and I was like, okay, well, I better learn how to play guitar instead. And I remember there was a moment in like middle school where a bunch of my friends had gotten like their dad's electric guitar, and we like sat in a room and just made noise, and my friends started screaming about freeing the whales. And so
Hell yeah.
I went back home, and I'm like, okay, let me actually write a song about this. And so I sat there and with my guitar, I'm like, knew how to play power chords, and I wrote a song called Free the Whales. And basically it was, ever since then, it was just a thing of like learning covers and reading Guitar World magazine and figuring out Green Day songs. Actually, if you look up Green Day tabs, I wrote a couple of them.
Oh, nice.
When is Green Day going to credit you for that?
Stop it.
You know,
Stop
I see if I
tapping
can
our
get-
shit.
I guess
I'm gonna
that
see
would
if
be
I
the
can
credit
get
that
Billy
would be
Corgan
received.
to my
As a
friend Billy
cease and
Corgan to help.
desist.
Come
Fabian, how did you start playing guitar? You said that you moved from digital to guitar. Do you just like pick one up and?
Yeah, kind of. From that point, I already own a guitar, but I just never played it. But the thing
Boy.
that really got me into just, I guess, guitar music is actually like Guitar Hero. Guitar Hero 3 specifically, and I
Yeah,
learned
that
how to
tracks.
hold the guitar because of that game. And then I had a guitar and I learned a little bit, and then I put it down, got into like digital electronic music, and then picked the guitar back up and learned basics, and then just kept learning songs.
Yeah, no, it really is sort of like for me with any stringed instrument, it's just you look up the chords.
Yep.
You learn how to play the chords. You learn how to switch between the chords, and then once you've done that, everything just sort of spills out from that point. I've had the bizarre experience lately. Kiana, my girlfriend, is learning to play the guitar right now, and Rats has been helping Kiana learn to play guitar.
Well,
And
Wi-Fi?
And so Kiana occasionally comes to me and is like, "Hey, so I've been doing this method," and I'm like, "I have no idea what that is."
Oh, cage method. Yeah, that shit rules. Yeah.
Do any of you guys put your thumb over to fret the bottom string on
Hell
the bar
yeah.
chord?
Recently,
yeah.
yes.
I
Okay.
do not.
I started
that shit rules.
doing that because of Jimi Hendrix and Uncle Jesse from Full House.
Good combo.
Oh man,
Yeah.
if go
You're doing
ahead,
your
everybody
bar
who
chords, let the highest
wants to
string.
know about Uncle Jesse from Full House, go ahead and look and watch the Todd in the Shadows video about the Beach Boys' Summer of Love album, and learn about how Jesse was a pretend. Anyway, Jesse was a pretend Beach Boy.
So anyway, how I started playing guitar because I was making lo-fi hip hop beats,
Yeah.
and then I ran out of guitar samples, and then I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna have to make some, aren't I?" So then I bought a guitar for that purpose, and then I heard a Car Seat Headrest song. And I was like, "Yeah, this seems easy. I could do
It was
that."
during COVID, by the way, just in case you didn't. It's a bunch of-
Yeah. He
No,
ventured out
that was
into
before COVID. That was before I started like making like songs. I was still making
the lo-fi
lo-fi
hip hop
hip-hop
beats didn't
beats.
count as songs.
It didn't have a beginning,
Not
a middle,
really.
and an end.
Oh, there you go.
No,
I'm
I
definitely.
think there were
gonna-
some that were literally just a piano loop and then a drum loop, and then it just kept going with no
great.
changes for 2 minutes.
Great thing.
There you go. That sounds like good
Song.
music to study.
So
and
no
relax to.
beginning, no middle, and no end.
But yeah, no, the using the thumb to figure bass, and like particularly using the thumb to do chords over bass notes, is something that I just figured out that I could do like a year ago.
I'm gonna try that right now. Actually.
Yeah, you're.
Hold on.
Yeah, Isaac, you're a big man with big hands. It's easy for you.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
a
me, the big
medium-sized guy
man
with
big
medium-sized hands. So it's like medium difficulty for me, you know?
Are we about
That's
to have
weird.
a jam sesh? Are we about to have a jam sesh on the?
Is that how we should end the trucks? Yeah. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna get my
God.
guitar.
no.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna go get my
I think
guitar.
if
So
Blurds was
who's-
if Blurds was a country star in the '70s, he'd be called the big man with the big hands.
This is gonna be a nightmare to try to sync up if you guys attempt to play instruments at each other.
Is not going to be synced up is the issue.
I should really have had my guitar within like arm's reach if we were going to do this, but
Bro, I don't have an instrument.
I guess you're just gonna have to beat.
So who's got
Oh, I have
who's got chords? Should I do that?
Please don't do it.
Okay, we'll start.
This is
I
not
feel
what
like
podcasts
I'm
are
my
for.
fault. But I tried putting my thumb over for a chord and it felt weird.
Oh no!
I don't think I could stretch my hand that far.
I'm so sorry.
I've actually been jamming with my friend recently. He's just been calling me over, and we've been doing jam sessions like every month, and that's really like kept me sort of sane. And he's the kind of person that, like, he prefers how music sounds during the jam session instead of like taking bits and pieces of it and making it into a song. So he just puts the stuff up on Bandcamp.
Lazy.
Cool.
I like
Like-
that.
You
Interesting.
just
I
record the jam
support it.
sessions.
Yeah.
The thing I want to put to you guys, here's my controversial thing, is that songs are overrated, and the hegemony of the only kind of finished music being songs ought to be disrupted.
Particularly if you don't want anybody to pay you for music.
Well, yeah. See, that's the trouble. That's exactly the trouble I'm describing.
I mean,
I'm
yes,
sorry,
I
Josh.
just,
I think poems have to rhyme.
like yeah, but also
People like
if-
songs is the
I'm-
problem.
People like
Yeah,
songs. I like
I'm,
songs.
I'm
but
fairly in love with songs
I'm
generally.
just saying, like, if you're a musician, and I personally am definitely, like, indelibly forever drawn to making music, which is not songs. It's like it's just not what I'm doing.
I've been leaning a little more towards Josh lately. So I got a job doing editing and sound design for a podcast, and that has really changed my perspective on music. Like having to work with like ambiances, and the podcast involves a wizard. So like every time the wizard does a spell, I make a new sound effect for it.
Nice.
Like all that has like really sort of changed how I view like music on like the workstation.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was chirping there, but like, if you go and listen to my last album, there are a bunch of tracks on there that can't really be called songs. They're at best like loops, and I mean, and part of the reason why why I feel sort of conflicted about that is that it's easier to do that, at least for me.
I agree.
It's definitely easier to make something which is not a song than to make something which is a song, but I don't feel it's necessarily easy to make something which is both not a song and is like good and feels complete in its own right.
Yes,
I think
and
sometimes
I can
it's
do
good
that.
Sure. And I encourage you to.
Thank you. But
I gotta wait for the one that's the left arrow to turn green. I know how to drive.
I've
now
got
we're following them.
I've got a final question for you guys, since we're close to the end of this, because this is a question that often comes back to me. How do you know that you did something good?
I say it's good if you like
a year
listening to
later.
it.
Again, it's a year later. Yeah.
Not really. I don't know. I do it, and then I've got like a checklist of songs for the album in my head, and I think, does this fit what I need for song 2? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think it takes about maybe 6 months or a year to get some distance from it. Like that's the problem when making music. I found is that you're way too close to it, and you can't be like, oh well, this decision is awesome. Like you just really have to go with it, and then find out later if it was any good. And even then, if you hate it, like maybe 5 years later, you look back and go, wait, this was good.
That's true. I
Yeah,
mean, when it's no longer
the
you
issue-
doing it, it's like, well, this rap break is extremely embarrassing, but now that I don't think of that as me doing it, that's, it's acceptable.
I just
It's
think
funny, yeah.
I don't think there's a rule. It can be whatever. I have like most stuff I do. I don't know, but then there's like songs that I knew the day I started doing it. I was like, this could be something, and I still think it is. So it's whatever. It can be anything.
I feel that a bit. There just depends on the song. Usually for me, it's just when I'm tired of it and I'm like, I don't want to work on this anymore.
Yeah,
It sounds
and then
good.
it's
It sounds
done.
alright. Yeah, get out of my face. Get out of
And
my
I
Wow,
think
the
I think
ultimate
something
lowball. Look at this.
I think something
Wow.
underrated
Oh,
is
never mind.
Wow.
beautiful. I
Hell
think
yeah.
something like that people don't want to bring up is I know something's good if other people like it. Like that sounds
No,
sounds
no.
That's
I don't
dude.
trust
No.
other people's dog shit
Mr. White
takes.
Man.
What the fuck?
He's
Well, I
trying.
mean,
You're
where's
getting
he supposed to
trolled.
go? You're blocking his lane.
He should have stopped and waited, like a
He
good
did.
boy.
You're about to
what he was
reverse
doing.
into 2 cars. Yeah.
He's already reversed into
Yeah.
those
No, I
two
don't.
cars twice.
I don't go with the I don't go with the people like it thing, because with the stuff I make,
people
a couple of
sometimes-
people will
yeah.
really like it, and then everybody else will politely avoid saying anything about it.
Well, that's the thing is that's enough for me. I think that's enough. If like a couple people are like, yes, this song fucks, and like,
I don't know if anybody's ever said that about my music.
well, you should find friends that do.
Okay.
Damn.
Oh wait,
Would anybody
But
like
if
to
it's
comment
those
on that one,
couple
that one of my
people,
songs fuck?
If
we get a
someone's
hype man
getting
for
excited
Blitz?
about it, I'm happy.
I get excited about my.
I do
own
actually have an answer now that I think about it.
Uh-huh.
If I show it to someone and then they their mood becomes worse because they heard it.
I like that.
Yes. I can only aspire to be able to maintain that kind of attitude.
I've always sought
But I
artistic
admire it.
processes where,
No,
like,
I like hurting people emotionally with music. It's fun.
What were you saying, Josh?
I've always gravitated toward artistic processes. This also applies to like the photo manipulation thing I was doing before music, which kind of informed my music making in a big way. Just where like I'm sufficiently excited by the process, and oftentimes by the output, that's kind of like enough. That's kind of the fuel that keeps the furnace going. So
Hell yeah.
try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
fun.
like your own shit more.
It's
So
right on.
that's the trucks?
That was
Well,
that
we-
was the trucks.
We
I
can
mean, for the most
linger.
part.
We
Hell
can
yeah.
linger for a minute or two.
I
if
had-
you guys have
yeah.
further
Hell
thoughts.
I had another question in my head, but it completely vanished when Rat said that thing about harming
yeah.
people emotionally. So,
I had a question. Does anyone have like musical goals that they're interested in pursuing for their next step? Mine is that I want to become jam ready. I want to be capable of jamming.
I'm already jam ready. I would like to jam with some people.
I would like to. I think I'd like to get some people into the band Mother Panic, and I'm working on moving to a town where there are people who make music. So
I've already had Fabian, do you have any immediate goals?
Pretty similar to Rats over here. I'd like to.
and also
form-
money.
That's it. Money is part of the equation, but also I just would like to form a group with people and maybe either play my own songs or we write songs together and just go to places, play songs for people, and have fun.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, all of the above, really. I would also like to just be able to say I have a few albums out that I'm proud of. Another reason I forgot earlier for making music is that I like the idea of getting to design album art or commission album art. for
Oh,
it.
hell yeah.
I love art. I love visual art. That's fun.
Album art is like half the fun. You're right.
Oh yeah. My current immediate musical goal is to form one of those unbearable couple bands with Kiana.
Hell yeah.
Christ.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Jesus, dude, you changed.
Yeah, ever since I've been in like a functional relationship, I've had less desire to make songs.
You know, like it's a thing. It's a thing. Why do we
It
make
is.
music? To attract a mate. At the end
I
of the
know.
day.
I make
You
music
really are a
because
bird.
not.
Yes.
I didn't. The music I was making should not have attracted anyone. I was making it because I was
Same,
miserable,
and
and
yet-
now I'm not miserable.
Miserable music is very attractive. I mean, like it's an age-old
Fuck,
story that
God damn it.
the singer writes a bunch of good songs about being lonely and sad, and then they get a relationship, and the band just sucks after that.
Look at us, a
Yeah.
bunch of chads just shooting the shit.
Sorry, Oliver.
Nope.
I just
About what?
Sorry about your lack of romance.
Okay, that seems like a good place to stop.
Me too.
All right. I do
Alright,
have one
let's-
more thing
yeah.
to say, which is that sometimes the sort of difference between good music and bad music is just like the intangible of like it was worked on with intentionality and care, and I think that on paper there's no way that the last Trucks collaborative album should have worked, but on re-listen it really did and like cohered.
It's awesome.
I think at least. And so we're going to put a link to that and also a link to everybody else's shit in the description of this Trucks. But yeah, just makes shit, and often it'll turn out better than it has any right to. That's my final thought.
And fuck everything except shit that's cool.
What?
I heard
Fuck everything
of
that
shit
shit
that's
that cool.
Close
I
enough.
agree.
That's
to
the
me.
note to leave it on.
We found the title for the Trucks. Good night, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye.
This is nice.